everybody. And I know you've seen me twice today. Some of you have, and thank you for showing up. If this is your first time today, at least, hi. If it's your first time ever, welcome. I got a hell of a show today. I'm really excited about this. It's basically, is Meghan Markle's problem Meghan? I think we might know the answer to that one. Here is the rundown for today's show. What is she doing wrong? We've also got a great one. Hold on. What is she doing wrong? Is this just a role for her? Is everything she's doing right now, shilling everything, just a role? Who is her target customer? The major problem with freebies and taking things from photo shoots, and I got a personal story about this one because I am red hot mad about this. And again, is Meghan's problem Meghan? Now, here's the deal, you guys. I'm really excited about my guest today. She is she's everything. She's a former magazine editor. She's a former bigwig PR for DKNY. She also now is a personal branding expert and a brand consultant for major brands. Welcome, Aliza Licht. Aliza, thank you so much. I can't believe you had the time to come on, and I appreciate you beyond. Your knowledge is insane.
Oh, well, thank you for that beautiful intro. And I am so excited to be here. You are everything you do is chef's kiss.
I love you. So here's the deal. Two things happened yesterday that I was interested about. The first thing that happened, I want you to watch this with me because, sorry, honey. I need you to watch this with me. And I got to make sure everything else is off because this dropped from Meghan. And I know we all saw it, but I need us to re-see this so that we can really unpack it. Hold on, here we go. I mean, JFC. I literally, when I saw it, I was like, what the hell is going on? And then right after that landed, around that time, I saw your Substack, which was so freaking on point. I couldn't believe it. Meghan Markle's never-ending rebrand is officially exhausting. Yesterday it was raspberry marmalade. Last month it was AI affiliate fashion. Before that, it was another rebrand. And at this point, Meghan Markle isn't building businesses so much as continuously rebuilding the brand of Meghan Markle. Yeah, let's talk about that because what the hell is she doing? It seems like every other week there's another thing going. She doesn't really stick with anything. It's like throwing crap against the wall and trying to see what sticks.
One word comes to mind: insufferable.
100%.
Let's start there. So that video clip that you posted, there's a beginning part where she grabs a raspberry and she's like slow-mo putting it in her mouth.
Right.
And then she's picking some flowers. And I think the reason why she never lands is because nothing the woman does comes from a place of authenticity.
Well, and by the way, that is ironic because all she does is talk about being authentic.
Well, her brand of authentic is engineered. By the way, the lifestyle she is living, she's cosplaying, right? And I think at the top of the show, everything about this is a role. And I go back to the thing with Meghan Markle, and I've known, back in the day at DKNY, where did Paula go? Just gonna wait a second.
No, it's weird. Okay. You keep talking.
I keep talking. Okay.
You guys, Aliza's new to this, so
yeah, totally.
You keep talking.
I like to see you though. I don't need. Okay, fine, go away. I back in the day at DKNY when she was on Suits and she had PR people pulling in clothes for her. She was someone who we didn't really think about. This is not someone who was like Nicole Kidman back in the day. This is someone who we were like, should we lend her clothes? I don't know. I mean, Suits is kind of okay, right? And then as she, when she started dating Harry and as things started falling, when you think back to that time, again, the new role was this aspirational, mysterious. She was restrained in her approach. She was like the quintessential royal girlfriend, fiance, wife. She doesn't realize that that brand of her worked when she started to make it about her and to now think about monetization of every single aspect of her life with zero self-awareness. That's when she lost the plot.
That's interesting. And you speak about this a bit, but we saw her in Australia. We see her on the one, I've got this one-off. Then we see her in videos like this at As Ever. Then we see her showing up to, D-list events now. I mean, is this all just a role for her?
It is a role for her, but here's what's really interesting. As a former publicist, thinking in terms of what is the caliber of the media that is covering her? She gave an exclusive to a publication in Australia that you and I probably wouldn't even speak to. So she has been downgraded to the level of who actually wants to cover her seriously. Like, where's Vogue Australia? Vogue Australia didn't want to cover her fashion in Australia? Nope, they certainly did not. And she monetized every single look, including what she wore to visit the survivors of the Bondi Beach massacre.
Yeah, I call it monetizing the trauma closet. I will never get over that. Just for anyone out there watching, never. But yeah, I hear you. It was absolutely insane. But it does seem like she talks about authentic self and authentic this. Then she talks about how, she loves astrology and how she's a Leo. And Leos have come out of a bad 7-year stretch. And she is now going to be able to show people the real her. And to that I say, well, what the hell were you showing us before?
She doesn't know who she is. That's the problem. And everybody knows it. And by the way, going back to what you said in the beginning, when she posted, Mother's Day and the kids in Disney, actually, Tom Sykes was talking about the marketing funnel of that, where it's like the kid Instagram was meant to drive to the launch of As Ever, which, by the way, we already launched that back in April. So we're launching it again. But I actually added a comment on his post because the reason why she posted those kids right after she posted the launch of the marmalade, she was using them as a human shield. She was thinking, if I remind people that I'm a mom, maybe they won't troll me as hard. And fun fact, not true.
No, you're absolutely right. That is such a good point. It's funny because this year she has come out hard almost every single day, doing something, quote unquote, launching something. And, you're right. Not only does it not work, but people really are taking a massive dislike to her even more because it always seems to launch on a day where Catherine or William are doing something, or their children are doing something, or King Charles is doing something. It's almost like, hey, over here, don't forget about us. And then, of course, saying, you know what? F the Sandringham agreement. We are half in. We are half out. We're going to do as we damn well please. But here's the problem. Again, who is overseeing their quote unquote branding? What the hell is their brand? I don't understand. And also, by the way, who the hell is her target customer? You get into this in the piece quite a bit. And what I really loved is that you just added up one outfit. One outfit in Australia, and it came up to $49,770 for one outfit. And you asked, who exactly is Meghan Markle's target customer? Is the person buying artisanal marmalade also shopping nearly $50,000 of fashion affiliate links? Especially when her cut is 20%, because right now the brand positioning feels confused. Is this relatable California lifestyle content? Ultra luxury aspiration, quiet luxury cosplay, AI powered affiliate commerce? What the hell is it?
I mean, you just packed so much into this, so I'm just going to roll it back for 1 second. Strategy in terms of cadence, her launching anything on the heels of any royal is not, hey, don't forget about me. It is, let me ride their coattails. That is a strategy. That is, media is covering royals. Well, I'm a royal and they're going to cover me too. So don't think for a second that does not go into her strategy. In terms of branding, I don't know. Does anyone on her team want to check a simple trademark? I mean, she literally had to kill the first brand, American Riviera Orchard, because she tried to own a city. And then the next brand, as ever, major conglomerate in China, who basically supplies the clothes to like H&M, was like, girl, back away from our trademark. She had to remove clothing from the application. Then poor little As Ever, like a Brooklyn cool hipster brand, who had the Instagram, was like, hey, we're here. Hi, that's our name too. She doesn't think about these things. She likes to, again, cosplay CEO, cosplay founder, cosplay somebody who really understands branding and positioning. I don't know. It's a simple Google search, I think, will do in terms of understanding what's out there.
But also, here's the deal. Why doesn't she have anyone on her staff doing it? It's the same question, and anyone who saw me yesterday railing against Chelsea Handler, who tried to steal my trademark of abroad, F you, Chelsea, but, ended up paying a couple months rent of mine, then of course stole it for her international tour because I don't have the international trademark and she has no ideas of her own. I remember saying, is no one checking this? Why doesn't Meghan have somebody checking this? Like a lawyer. She's got a trademark lawyer.
So interestingly, I would answer that with narcissism. A lot of times founders will refuse to listen to good advice that may be around them, thinking they're going to love it. It'll be great for them. Being affiliated with me is going to help their business. And the reality is she doesn't have that clout.
You are not kidding. Wow. It's also interesting too that you related it to, a lot of people are saying she was trying to one up. And I even thought that every time William or the king did something, she was like, babe, back to me, look at me. But you are absolutely correct that she is, because they won't let her around them. William and Catherine will never be in the same room with her again. Mark my words. The king is, weaker and is thinking of meeting with Harry. He does not want to meet with Meghan. But even when he meets with Harry, he needs someone else in the room with him. But they need the royal shine on them because, as I've always said, and I'd love you to weigh in, I don't think they're worth much if the real royal family, the actual working royals, don't want anything to do with them.
Well, why do you think she's trying to write? I mean, she is not allowed to use that title commercially. As one-off launched, Meghan, Duchess of Sussex. Like, she is not allowed. By the way, she's double dipping. She's an investor in One-Off and she's getting affiliate money. By the way, it could be as high as 25% on each link. Okay. So she's really, I mean, opportunistic is probably too kind for what she is doing.
Right. I think it's all just so, again, it goes back to the theory of authenticity when everything she does is so manipulative and controlling and trying to remind people, hey, back to me. And look, we're royal too. And you're just kind of like, well, you kind of gave that up, sugar,
Listen, for people like Meghan Markle, attention is oxygen. She doesn't get attention. She literally shrivels up and dies. And when you actually think about it, going back to the Oprah interview is kind of everything you need to know. That one lie, the first one, when she said she didn't even know who Harry was. Girl. She watched The Crown. She didn't know. You would have literally, there is not even one remote chance that that was a shred of truth.
Yeah.
She's completely manufactured. And that is why she cannot build fandom. Anyone, one of the fun things I love to do, and you can take this trick anywhere you want.
Please do.
When you want to see if somebody, because a lot of people confuse likes with success on social media. But actually, when you think about it, if the shares outweigh the likes and comments to a massive degree, it's because you're an actual car crash and people are sharing you behind the scenes and talking about you, but not talking about you in front of your face.
Oh my God. Aliza, thank you. I didn't know this.
It's my theory. But listen,
I don't think you're wrong.
So I think, yes, it's because, and people also like things because it's a user habit. But really, she is attracting way more haters than she is fans. And that's why nothing sticks.
Well, it's also fascinating too, because I think that's why Netflix they were like, look, they've got so much attention and wow, we're going to capitalize. But those two have proven without a doubt, I think it's a university course level marketing course at this point. They've proven that people hate follow them. For me, it's not a hate follow. I don't really hate anyone, but for me, it's my soap opera, right? Everyone out there knows I call it the days of our Montecito lives. And
I love that. I love the logo you did. I mean, just the nostalgia of Days of Our Lives is so good. But
it's also the same thing. We follow them every day for this.
Harry is, speaking of following, he's like a little puppy. He just, and by the way, if you look at them on the carpet, next time you see them together, if he's doing any press or talking to someone, she will literally physically move his arm so she can get in there. She cannot not be the center of attention.
Yeah, it's funny. She did that with Sentabali, as we all know, made Sophie Chandaka, the chairwoman, move. She wasn't even supposed to showed up at the last minute, was like, move, I'll hand this to my husband. Always thinking of the press opportunity and not actually thinking, hey, this isn't about me. But I want to get into a huge lie. All right.
Yeah.
And this happened last year and we're getting into it. I'm going to read it and then I'm going to say what you wrote about it, and then we're going to discuss this.
Okay.
So last year I wrote a big article on News Nation. It was called, Did Meghan Take the $1,700 dress she wore in her Netflix special? Now, it was interesting. I then said, eagle-eyed fashion observers almost fell out of their chairs. This was for her Christmas special, all right? Because her Galvan Ushuaia one-shoulder gown looked very familiar. It was the exact same one she wore in Variety's 2022 Instagram reel, promoting the Duchess as its cover subject. This was, I believe it was a $1,700 dress. Unfortunately, after appearing in the video, Meghan was then accused of pilfering several items from an anonymous photo shoot again. In an appearance on Andrew Gold's Heretics podcast last year titled Exclusive, Meghan Markle News Stealing Allegations, veteran journalist Vanessa Gregoriadis, whose work has appeared in the New York Times and Vanity Fair, described how several items of clothing that had been pulled for Meghan during a photo shoot allegedly went missing, and not for the first time. Now, what was fascinating to me was I did call for comment. They didn't get back to me. A day later, they get back to a shill in Newsweek, this guy named Jack Royston, who puts up this story, which was absolutely stunning to me. It was Meghan Markle aide threatens defamation suit over stolen dress stories. By the way, this article was edited several times. At first, it wasn't Meghan Markle aide. They also had my name in there because, by the way, I used to work for Newsweek. And then the article went on. And by the way, the aide was Liam McGuire, who I refuse to deal with because he has lied to me several times and bullied me several times. So he said in a statement, the insinuation that my items were taken without the full knowledge and agreement of the on-set stylist or their respective teams is not only categorically false, but also highly defamatory. Any items were done so in total transparency and in accordance with contractual agreements. Newsweek has been told retaining items from shoots is considered best practice. By the way, that is absolute bullshit. It prevents unauthorized auctions and resales that use the reputation of the royal family to bump up the price. The spokesperson suggested any clothes kept were done so with the full knowledge and agreement of the on-set stylist or their respective teams. Working royals are required to pay a discount rate for any clothes they keep and are not permitted to accept free handouts. Meghan is not a working royal. Can we get into this? Because I was batshit mad.
I'm quiet, but in my head, I'm screaming. So cardinal rule in fashion, as a former PR girl, you take my samples on a photo shoot, I will come and hunt you down. Those are, generally speaking, original runway samples. They're pre-season. They're not available for sale. By the way, if she was selling them, easy to track, something that's not out in the world yet. Actually, and off the record, that's chapter 2. You cannot steal from the fashion closet or the photo shoot if you don't want to get caught, because the stuff didn't exist back in the 90s in the real world. And also, if they're shooting her in pre-collection clothing, it's not going to exist in the real world. So really easy to track, which is why her aide got so angry, because the reality is really stupid on their part for taking anything from.
Well, it was hilarious. So, he calls me, or I've got all this on email and whatnot. He's like, I've spoken to fashion editors, and it's de rigueur basically to have a clause in a contract saying she can keep the clothes. And I said, I've been the subject of fashion shoots before, and that is baloney skins. Have you ever heard of a fashion contract saying
I would say
you can keep the clothes?
So first of all, think about how tacky that is to even ask. There have been celebrities that have asked, for sure. A lot of times we would say, in the past, we would say, this is an original sample. It's one of a kind. We're happy to send you when it is out in the world. We'll gift it to you. But generally speaking, you have to be the first lady of the United States. Oh, by the way, fun fact, this whole we have to pay for things. Back in the day, even Hillary Clinton, no matter who it was, they would just write a check for $20 for a $7,000 garment. $1 you paid for it. That's how that works, just so you know, $1. So I've seen this all, and the reality is she's not important enough for any designer to be like, here, take my original samples for your use.
Well, okay. What also blew my mind. I get really angry about this because I don't like it when people lie to me. I also don't like it when they try to bully me. And that's exactly what their PR did to me. Because I remember being like, hey, she's wearing a Chanel dress that she also wore in this other shoot. So that dress has got to be over $15,000. Chanel, it's tweed, it's beautiful. It was that strapless Chanel. And Chanel does not give freebies. And they also want a certain person wearing their brand. And now here she is wearing Chanel. What would you have to say about that?
Chanel is not giving her a single stitch from that photo shoot, number one. Number two, if you steal or lose an original sample from Chanel, you're literally reciting off the record right now, it's triple retail price. You literally get an invoice for triple retail. So we go back to what you're saying, which is she on brand for Chanel, which is my other book, right? No is the answer. So a lot of times in PR, when we would get requests from stylists, it was really difficult because if they had one client that was really on brand for us, that we wanted to dress, but another client who wasn't on brand. Sometimes you'd have to make exceptions and say, okay, we'll dress her because we don't want to lose the one we really want. But her representing that look, she isn't that. She doesn't have the gravitas to do that, but she thinks she does, and that's the problem.
So who ends up paying for that? Like if she walks off set, or again, has it in her contract, just, my winky eye will go on a whole tear here. Who pays for that Chanel dress? Because Chanel does not give things for free. Is it the stylist? Is it the magazine? Is it?
It would be the magazine. It would be the magazine. However, depending on the magazine, depending on the advertising relationship with that brand, with the magazine, you have to pick your battles. But, there's a pattern of this. I think we all kind of know the answer here. And again, it goes back to narcissism.
Yeah. God, you are not kidding. It's really interesting. You also write that one of her biggest issues is we talked about how she once possessed the one thing money cannot manufacture, mystery. Now every initiative feels relentlessly monetized. And you talk about your novel Off the Record, which you are publishing on Substack. You guys, it's fabulous. If you ever really wanted to know what happened in the fashion scene in the 90s, go to Aliza's Substack, Off the Record. It's fabulous.
Thank you.
And you talk about the editorial samples taking from photo shoots. Absolutely not. But then you say the harder Meghan Markle packages the image, the more manufactured the person underneath it begins to feel. And my final question for you, is Meghan Markle's problem?
100% yes, but more than anything, she can launch as many brands and companies as she wants to. She can be a humanitarian. She can have a Netflix show. She can have a podcast. She can play CEO. It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, here's her real problem. She's the product, and everybody knows it.
Oof. And nobody wants that product, hey? It's amazing how somebody is, especially in this day and age when all companies look at, well, how much clout do you have? We've run your numbers. You've got this much engagement, blah, 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 and we'll give you this to put up a post, right? Which is how the Kardashians make a ton of dough. And nobody's doing that for Meghan, because I think at this point they're realizing, no, we don't want that. We're not interested. Something else, it's kind of brain farted. I lost the plot here. What would you, as a professional PR and branding expert, what would you say? And before you answer, please hold up your book that you have published, because you guys, this is not just so random, okay? Aliza knows what she's talking about. She wrote a huge book about personal branding.
This one's like the Devil Wears Prada meets career advice, but yeah, this is the
100%. And so what would you suggest Meghan and basically Harry do? Harry's kind of Meghan's addendum.
Yeah.
What would you suggest she do?
Brand audit. Listen, here's the thing. What I would advise a client, what I advise in the book, which is like a workbook, you have to match your self-reflection with public perception. And part of that is being really honest with yourself. Okay, what is the state of my brand online, in person? How do people really feel about me? And the thing is, she does not want to look in the mirror. So she can't get out of her own way because of that. So any other normal, regular person would be able to talk to friends and say, can you tell me, what do you think of my brand? What do you think people come to me for? What do you think my superpower is? And she's not capable of asking those sort of self-reflective questions because she doesn't want the feedback. What she needs to do is disappear for a really long time. She needs to disappear. She needs to be humbled. She needs to understand what it's like to earn people's respect, to actually come from a place where you have a legitimate foundation, where people admire you for a reason that's not self-serving. And until she does that, this is just, you know, it'll just spiral. It's over and over again. That's why it's exhausting to watch. And someone in my comments was like, well, you know, if it's exhausting, like, why don't you stop paying attention? The thing is,
it's my soap opera.
Well, okay, entertainment value, right? But the thing is that she is an example of what not to do. So I'm coming at it from a marketing and PR and branding perspective. And I am saying, if you want to actually build a brand, don't do that.
Yep. You are not kidding. And you know what's interesting? Final comment, and I'll send it over to you for your final comment. You talk about earning respect, and she seems to think that she gets respect for basically begging a prince. And you're like, cool, you should get respect for some dude that you married? Okay, what the hell? You know, you were a suitcase girl before. You were on Suits. Your character was about to get killed off or let go. You know, and I respect you for being a working actress because, man, that is hard. I don't respect the fact that you didn't work 5 jobs while you were a working actress and were funded by family members and has been funded by her father, who she no longer speaks to. And I seriously don't respect somebody just for whom they married.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's kind of like, this is not 1912, you know? It's not like the showgirl got the guy. She's our new icon, you know? And, you know, I guess my final thought is, yeah, if she listened to you, she would go away. She would say, well, I've got to pay the bills, to which I'm sure you and I would say, why don't you downsize? But, you know, do we really need that house with all the taxes and the $3 million bills a year? I'm not sure. But I don't know if she can go away. As the commenters have said, she would go insane if nobody was paying attention. So realistically, final word, what do you think will happen?
So number one, she keeps on role playing this fictitious life, right? It's like this perfect going to get my honey from my backyard and, you know, eating raspberries in slow-mo and picking flowers. And like, how about just be a real person? How about just be a real person? And at the end of the day, why did she marry Harry? Because isn't that the perfect idea? When you actually don't have anything to personally offer in terms of talent, like she was fine on Suits. Like I actually liked the show. She was fine. But she didn't work on herself. She took Harry. She took him to add to her repertoire. And that's why people don't like her, because she didn't earn any of it. She's a pretty girl. Good for her. She married a prince. But meanwhile, doesn't look like it's going so great.
We shall see. Aliza, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate you. And I'm so glad you came on. You guys, everybody out there needs to go to Aliza's Substack, Off the Record. It's fabulous. You can read the piece for yourself. It is a jaw dropper. All right. And this is from just a big person in the industry. Aliza, stay on backstage, please. I will come back.
Thank you so much.
You.
Thanks everyone for watching.
And Aliza took it out of my mouth. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you. And thanks for joining. I hope you learned something, and let me know what you think in the comments. And I will try to get to you. Unfortunately, sometimes after the live goes, I can't see the live comments. So just bang another one in. All right. And don't forget, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Woo! I'll see you soon.